So we build a program cat, and it now says bark. But we can still run the original cat if we provide it with an absolute path. An absolute path is where I start out with something that starts with slash, and I know that my cat is in slash bin, so I can still run that cat by providing it with an absolute path. So when it's looking for, through the path, it's looking for all those things that don't have absolute paths that it's got to go find. But you can still tell it to run things that it can't find by just telling it where they are and how to find them. There's also special paths. Okay, if I do ls tilde, tilde in the bash shell and ZSH refers to my home directory. So anything that I want from my home directory, like remember there's a bin directory in there, I can say tilde bin, and it lists that directory underneath my home directory. Sometimes I have things in my path that rather than being absolute paths are relative to my home directory. So I can find commands, I can run them. Now I keep running this command ls. ls lists the files in the current directory. It's like running the browser or running the Finder or the Windows Explorer and telling it, go look at this particular directory and tell me what files are in it. There are options on ls. ls-l lists them in a long format. And there are a bunch of options. For instance, one of my favorite combinations of multiple options is I'd like to know at the bottom of my listing what the most recently changed file is. Usually this has to do with, oh, I just downloaded something and I want to see that file. And the combination of options that I like to use is ls-l for long, t for time sort, r for reverse, and leave out the O, which is the groups of the owner. And I get this kind of a listing. And I see that in my current directory, the last thing that I changed was the video directory. Now there are a bunch of columns when you do an ls-l. One of them is the owner, which isn't very exciting in this case because I'm the owner of every file in this directory. There is the size of the different files. For instance, this particular file has 16,000 characters in it. There's the date when it was last modified, and there are a bunch of dates that are kept associated with files. There is the file name. It puts some stuff in colors. This is purplish color. Down here is green. Green means that something is executable. And we're going to get into these bits. We've talked about these bits before relative to conversion, but we're going to go through them again. And the very first thing is a D if it's a directory. So video is a directory. It has the same bits, but they have slightly different meaning. If it's not a directory, then there's groups of 3, which is an octal digit, because 2 different things flipped on and flipped off in a group of 3 makes 8 things. 8 is a base 8 number. So the shell likes to work in base 8 values, but there's a read. So if you want to be able to read a file, it's got to have the R bit set for you. And the first set of those 3 is the owner of the file. That's me. The second set is the group that I'm in. I happen to be in a group over here called staff, but some of my stuff is in the group wheel. Okay? And groups can be switched when you're a user so that you can participate in different groups and get permissions to a set of files. The last 3 of these is everybody that isn't in the group or the owner, they are the other users in the system. And that's the permissions that everybody that's logged into that computer has access to that file. So I've basically said that anybody that's logged into my computer can access abc.txt and read it. Now, if you want to be able to modify the file, you have to have the write attribute. That's that one right there. So I'm the only person that can write the file and change the contents in it, but anybody can read it. If we look at a directory, this video directory says, by golly, anybody can go out there and read it, which means that they can do ls video and read what's in the file. I can execute, which execute has a very odd meaning in terms of a directory. Execute on a directory means that you can access the directory for searching for things in it. So things like the path have to have execute permissions if people want to access it and execute and search through it. Writing has the meaning that you would expect. If you write to a directory, you can do things like rename files or delete files. So I can actually set up a combination of things where I say, yes, you can read it and execute it, but you can't write to it, so you can't delete it. But then inside that directory, I can have a file that I give somebody write permission to, and they can delete the contents of the file, but they can't delete the file itself. They can't rename the file. But this set of groups and permissions works reasonably well. It's not fine-grained. It isn't, for this particular user, I only want them to be able to read the file but not write the file, and it isn't that kind of permissions. It's kind of, in general, this is how I want to handle the permissions. Some systems like Windows have fine-grained security, and there are some applications for that, but fine-grained security is very difficult to maintain in any reasonable fashion, and it requires a lot of effort. Whereas this is kind of enough security that usually you can decide what you want to have happen. Linux and Macs also have access control lists so that you can have fine-grained security, but that's not the default for most files. Now, the purple is generated by the ls command and basically says that this is an image or a video. And the dark blue in this case says that this is a directory. If I go back to my bin directory, you'll see I've got bunches of different things that are executable. Executables fall into two different categories. There's things like cat, that is a binary that I just compiled with CC. And I can also have executables that are scripts that get run with some kind of an interpreter. Like, for instance, bash or ZSH. That's an interpreter, and it can run scripts. And we'll get back to that, but first we're going to take a look at changing permissions. If you want to set the permissions on something, there's command chmod. I can take away the execute permission from cat. That's the cat that I just wrote. And when I do that, you'll notice it's no longer green in here, and I've removed that little execute bit right there. Now if I say /cat, dot means in the current directory, slash says run this thing, it'll say permission denied. Okay? I can put back the execute permission. And I can make it say bark again, which all cats should bark, right? So I can turn on and off the ability to be able to run programs with this.